Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about pointing with lime mortar, the do's and don'ts, and all the best tips and tricks to give you the best result every time. Let's get to it. How wet do you have your mortar when you're pointing? I like it like a bit of a putty, if you call it. It's quite workable, but it'll stick at the same time, so you can quite easily just get it onto your finger trowel without having to worry about it falling off. For the pointing, we are using NHL 3.5 natural hydraulic lime, which is a middle strength lime. They go up to NHL 5. Just different strengths for your mortar. And then for the sand, we're using a plastering sand, just because it gives you a bit of a buffer colour, a bit of a lighter colour, which once it's dried, you can see a little bit I've done it, it's quite a nice light colour which kind of matches the stone, as opposed to building sand, which is a bit too dark. As you can see the colour difference in the colour in the sand. I'm getting the sun there. So NHL 3.5 and plastering sand. Now I'm doing my measuring for this. I'm just doing a bucket, so 1 bucket of lime to 2 buckets of sand. When you're mixing, you want to make sure the water's in first. Add your lime to the water first. So you want to mix your lime up first so it's like a slurry, because this also helps activate the lime. So you put your sand in first and it was too dry. The sand and lime wouldn't mix together. Just give that a stir. Just going to make sure the consistency for the mix is what you want it to be near the end. You want it to be like a bit of a putty, like a play-doh kind of thing. You don't want it too wet, so it will end up all over the wall when you're pointing. So once you've got that mixed up and it's quite wet, you start adding your sand. A bit more water there. 2 buckets of sand. I'll just add a bit. Give it a mix. Like I said, I don't want it to be too dry. The trick here is to try and keep your mix as wet as possible whilst you're adding your sand and lime, as this helps the two products bind together properly. As if it was too dry, mixing too dry powders just won't mix correctly and they'll just get clumpy and lumpy. This wouldn't be any good for the mix that we're trying to make, which will be nice and smooth at the end of the mixing process. Second bucket going in. And then once you've got that to a nice consistency, as you see, it's still quite soft, but it's got a bit of a body to it. It's a bit like I said, Play-Doh as such, like putty. That's the kind of texture you want. Well, that's what I use anyway. Just easier to whip with onto your trowel as you're pointing. And we'll get it into the wall now. When you're pointing as well, you want your trowel nice size so it'll fit in a joint. Also, I've got different sizes, but you don't want to be using one which is going to be hitting the face of the stone, because then they're spreading your mortar all over the face. So it's better to usually have a different selection with you, so I'll probably use that for my purpose. And a thinner one for your horizontals. I like it like a bit of a putty, if you call it. It's quite workable, but it'll stick at the same time. So you can quite easily just get it onto your finger trowel without having to worry about it falling off. Then you can just apply it into your joints. Obviously this is my preference, I'm not sure everybody around the country is pointing will have the mortar like this. Some might have it wetter, some might have it drier. Make sure the wall has been wet down, the joints are already a bit damp to help the mortar stick into the wall. And then once you get it in, you just have to leave it to go off for a while. Depending on the weather, depending on how hot the day is. It's usually about an hour. So it needs brushing off. You go over it with a soft brush and a stiff brush to remove any snots and excess mortar. But the consistency is the most important. Because if it was too wet and it was falling off your board, it'd be no good whatsoever. Like that is literally anti-gravity mortar. Also, I always have a spray bottle to hand, so you can always just wet down your joints and wet down your board if you need to. But yeah, it just makes life quite a lot easier when your mix is the right consistency. And I always try and follow over what I've just put in, so it's kind of getting pushed in twice. That makes sense. You go over once and go over again on your way past, and that way you know it's getting compressed into your joint where it needs to be. And try and get your mortar so it fills the joint, so you know it's not going to fall out. .94% of the viewers watching this channel aren't actually subscribed. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed already, you know what to do. Once your mortar has been pointed into the wall, usually give it at least an hour, depending on how hot the day is, how much the sunlight is affecting the mortar, as it will dry faster, sometimes slower. Obviously on a damp day it'll take a lot longer to dry, but once it has started drying, there'll be like a layer on it, like a bit of a skim. So you apply a stiff brush to brush off all the loose bits of mortar, all the snots, and then go over it with a soft brush, and that'll give you your finish. Once you're happy with how it's looking, you can stand back and admire your work. And another thing I'll do is give it a spray, so I'll spray the whole wall again once I've brushed it off. This is the direct sunlight for the next couple of hours, so it'll just end up baking it if you want. Baking it in the sun, and tomorrow I can come back and it might be bright white in some patches where it's just dried out too fast. So the best thing is just give it all a spray, give it a bit of a layer of water, which will just slow the drying process down. And I'll cover this up with SEN before I leave tonight, so it gets a bit more cover. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.